Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? A gracious good morning to you good people. It's your girl KB. You know what I do and you know why I do it. It is Monday morning. It is November 24th and it's 4:37 in the a.m. I want to share something with you. If you follow me on TikTok, you've noticed subtle changes to my profile presentation. You've noticed not so subtle changes to the way I speak and how I address certain subjects. I started off basically with a theology kind of theme. And, I quoted my byline, if you will, Real Talk for a Faith Walk, noting the fact that what we call faith, a lot of times it's just mimicking and parroting other people. And we have this level of piety and want to quote scriptures for everything. And I was just starting to get irritated. The minute I talked about race relations or something political, I started getting bombarded with, you're trying to divide us. Your message is divisive. And it's usually from someone who is struggling with their own racial identity and, have learned to accept the status quo. And it reminded me of a time that I started listening to some of the recordings from the book The Slave Chronicles. And one person was asked, how they survived the beatings or the horrific punishments. And that individual responded with, I learned to love the whip. That's deep. In order to avoid the pain, you learn to love the object that's inflicting the pain. Now, for me, I'm not that deep of a human being. And I need to be real about that. That turn the other cheek, that does not mean you accept abuse. And you should not allow anybody to throw that in your face. The Bible says turn the other cheek. A lot of times I thought you were supposed to be a minister. Just because I disagree with you or just because I feel a certain way about something does not take away from my theology or my spirituality. And that right there tells me how you're going to come at me and how you approach your theology and your spirituality. Yes, we do have suffering in the world. But that, like I said, that does not mean you have to accept it. And then some theologies teach that our pain is a result of our strivings. And I pose the question, is it wrong to strive to avoid pain? Is it wrong to strive to seek and maintain peace? And for the folks who chose to get at me kind of grimy, disrespectful about my take on race and religion and race and politics, and you notice I didn't argue, because history has proven what I've said time and time again. And I'm not going to spend any time arguing with somebody who is under the belief that, suffering or second-class citizenry is my birthright. That I should always be considered less than. I'm not going to spend any time There's an African proverb, folks. When you enter into an argument with a fool, there are two fools in the argument. And I adhere to that part. You know, I share consistently about someone's actions who, I want to say, their actions attempted to break my heart and my spirit. And however unintentional, there are some things that were planned. And when I called it out, that person got ghosted. And that part is the part that's painful. People are going to be people. People are going to have people actions. And I'm okay with that. I can't change that. Be who you be. Do it to the utmost. But don't tell me you love me and then avoid accountability for the pain that you've inflicted. That part. So, if you ever hear me talk about how many bodies, that's a twofold a measurement. First is how many people you slept with, how many people you shared your essence with, how many people that you've shared your gift with. Let me put it that way. Because you are a gift. And if everybody can have this gift, what makes you special? And the other part of that is the result of sharing that essence. How many bodies? How much damage have you done because you've been damaged in sharing so much? I want you to think about that. So yeah, there are subtle changes to my page. There are subtle changes to my speech. And I'm brutally honest, frank, and willing to talk. You know, and I will also tell you I'm overthinking something or I'm putting too much on it, but I'll also tell you why I'm on this particular vein. I don't like a whole lot of, I'm going to say small talk. I want conversation to be about something. So, that being said, what do you be about?